This is John Lee, St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association here with Laura, and I see a couple other members coming in here. And if it's your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome again. Good to see you. I don't really have any announcements that I know of. Other than if you're not registered for the tax auctions here in Missouri, they are on Monday. You're probably not going to get registered, depending on the county. But anyway, this has been, as you know, we've talked about that a lot. This has been a good, actually a good year for the taxes. So I've been getting my list, and hopefully you've been getting yours, because that's a good source of off-market deals we can come up with. So anyway, let's see here. Okay, like I said, I don't really have any announcements per se. We had a good meeting the other day at the main event with on the IRAs. If you're not investing in your IRA, it's a good thing a good source of funding. So you might want to watch that replay. All right, does anybody have anything that they want to start us off with today? Anybody got anything they want to buy or sell?
Should I go ahead and
Or
do
let's go ahead and why don't you go ahead and do the disclaimer? I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
No, I'm sorry. I've had 10 different things going here. So go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, Laura.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We meet here to share deals, look for deals and solutions we have in need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisors, attorney, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Catherine Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Thank you, Laura. All right. Does anybody now have anything they'd like to start us off with? Anybody got anything they'd like to buy or sell? I guess that's always a good place to start. Anybody got anything they're working on? Anybody looking for any contractors, or got anything as far as service people they're looking for? Anybody got any questions on anything? A lot of quiet people today. Okay, well, we do have some things coming up here in the next couple of months, which would be pretty interesting. We are putting together a owner financing master class, which several people has asked us about, and that's something that Laura and I personally do. We started doing that in lieu of the rental properties many years ago, and that's worked out well for us. It's not 100% completely hands off, but I'll tell you what, it's a lot more hands off than when we were landlords full time. So we do really like what we do. In fact, it gives us the freedom to go and do things and not have to worry so much about some of the other things that go with all that. It frees up. We make a lot more money. It does free up our time. So which at this point we're really happy to have more free time. So in fact, next week we'll be in Branson and so I don't know. I think we have to leave the cabin at 10 o'clock, and our meeting here starts at 11, so it'll be interesting to see where we're at and where we're going to be broadcasting from. So we will have the meeting. We haven't missed one we're in our 6th year now, and in a couple of weeks, Catherine Davis will be back, our attorney for Ask the Attorney. So if you have any legal questions, or you just want to, any Q&A, or you just want to listen and learn, she's always entertaining and very, very informative. And she's helped us out a lot over the years. And she'll be here the first. Actually, let me look at the calendar. When is we got a holiday coming up here too, Memorial Day, don't we? Or Labor Day, I'm sorry. Let's see here. So is that
Yes.
that would be the first Monday, so she won't be here then she'll be here on the 8th. It'll be the second Monday, I guess, this month.
No,
we'll be here.
wait. You're talking about on Friday?
Oh, I'm
She'd be
sorry. Yes,
there.
I am. I am.
Yeah, she'd
I
be there
believe
on the
she will
5th
be here
probably.
on the first. Okay, no, I'm looking at the wrong month. I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. Don't listen to me. Listen to Laura. You'll get better facts. So, no, Catherine will be here. She'll be here on September the 5th. So it's always good. Kathy Davis is always a good source for a lot of information. She's really helped us out. She does a lot for the community in general in St. Louis. She's introduced us to a lot of people. She's on a lot of the committees and a lot of the groups that really gets things done here in St. Louis area and in all the areas around. So around us right here. And like I said, we'll be in Branson next week, so I don't know where we'll be broadcasting from, but we are going to look at a property we bought a couple years ago, an over-the-counter property, Farback, Texas, which is I haven't seen that property, and I know they've developed the neighborhood around it, so it'll be kind of interesting to see what it looks like now. So we'll be sure to get some pictures and let you know how that goes. Anybody got anything that they would like to share with us today? A lot of smiling faces. Everybody here just to listen. I know you're not here just to listen to me. Because I could talk on forever and ever and just ask Laura. Anybody working on anything that they might need a contractor for? I know we got a lot of things that people were working on after the tornadoes we had a couple months ago here in the area. Still, it's not quite back to normal. I don't know if we'll ever be back to normal though. That did anybody going to the tax auctions on Monday? To any of them? I know they're all on the same day, all 115 of them. I know it's too late really to register for St. Louis County. St. Louis City, though, if you're on Dale Sweet's mailing list, that'll be coming up. They're doing theirs a little bit differently this year, and especially with the tornado that came through because they had one scheduled. I believe it was that week, and now that's changed to October, if I remember right.
Hey, John, I don't really have anything, but I can make up something.
Oh, sure, Ann. Why don't you make something up?
No, I was just gonna question. Now, did you say you guys have a place in Branson already? Like, you mean, what do you have there?
We've got a lot in a developing, well, it was a developing neighborhood. We bought a lot from over the counter that then what that means is just it was not sold at the third year tax sale. We've talked about those a few times, but we bought a lot in a neighborhood and haven't really done anything with it. I know we've paid dues on it a couple years in a row now, but they were building duplexes and single family residents in the neighborhood where we bought that, Ann.
So you plan on building something there, or just what are you gonna do with the lot?
No, I don't plan on building anything there. We're just going to wait and see what we're going to do next week when we're there. We're going to talk to some of the neighbors and just see. A lot of times, neighbors are good to sell the properties to. Done that a lot over the years, so we're going to see if there's any interest there. We could sell it to a developer. We could, there's a lot of things we could do. I personally don't want to get into a building situation though, Ann, because of the long distance and just some of the other things that are involved with that right now, at least at this point. I mean, never say never because you never know what could happen, but our plans are just to let it sit there and, come up with, see what the opportunities are.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's too far away to try to maintain anything there. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, it is a good time of year because the kids are back in school. They all go a little bit earlier than at least what I was used to when we were younger. But this is a great time to get out and do things like that and look at properties. And, the tax sales are next week. So it's not a great week to go into, into the collector's office because they're really busy, but it's a good week to look at everything. And if this is still a good time to get your list. In fact, a lot of them are online. It's kind of late to be calling them though, because we had to call, we've talked about that the last few weeks, but you have to call some of them because they don't put them all online. But this is a great time to get the list because the list will go away. And this is a great source of off market properties as the year goes on too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I just had a thought. So, like, if you have the land there, would it be possible maybe to like set up a couple of hookups and maybe someone can use it like for RVs? Well, you know why I'm asking that question. Now, does Lord still have his RV or
I
he
think Lori
had?
still has his. In fact, that might be why he's not here a lot on Fridays now because he's been doing a lot of traveling. Um, yeah, in our particular neighborhood, and I don't believe we'd be able to do that because I'd have to check with the association
Oh
um,
yeah.
because they do have an association there. And I have talked to him, but it's, it's like a lot of associations. They do have a big turnover because they're volunteers, kind of like we are here with the REIA. We're volunteers and a lot of people just do 2 years and then they move on. So I talked to a guy a couple of years ago there, and it was his, he was not going to go for reelection. So I don't know, to be honest with you, what we can and can't do. I do have a copy of the bylaws and I could look them up. I knew they have a minimum of, I believe it's like 1,500 square foot to build, and there's some other rules that they have like that. I'd have to look at it to really get into that. These are good properties though to sell to builders too. So that'll be another thing that we look at, and while we're down there, is look and see who's building in the area, what they're doing, and just, it's a great time to gather information though. And like I said, this is a good time of year because the kids are back in school, and it's going to be kind of fun too. And I'll get some pictures, but we're going to be at a cabin that has their own pond where you can swim in the pond out back. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Laura picked that out. So it'll be a lot of fun to see what we're going to be end up doing. And I kind of like these trips where I don't have a lot scheduled other than it is, of course, a business trip because we're going to look at our properties. And I did get the Taney County tax sale list, which was very interesting this year. There's like 124 pages of tax sales, and they did not have any 2 years ago because right after we bought ours, I talked to a couple groups and somebody went in there and bought everything they had over the counter, which was very interesting to me because when you buy things sight unseen, like is exactly what they did, you get a lot of unseen things that you don't know you're getting into. So, I talked to a guy actually right before I bought these, that the tax collector gave me his name and number, and he has a lot of rental properties down there, but he walked into the collector's office to pay his taxes one day, and they had all these deeds stacked up on the desk right there because they sold them over the counter over the years. Taney County was really good for that, and they have so many of them because a lot of these developments went in down there and they sold lots, and a lot of the people would buy lots kind of like the ones we have, but they didn't want to pay the dues and the taxes because that stuff starts adding up if you don't do anything with them. And so he said, but he went in there and he said, well, how much for all these? And she said, well, you just make us offers. We're taking offers. He said, I'll give you $1 a piece. Well, they sold him all of them. He had like 42 properties he bought over the counter. Well, a lot of those come with what they call SID fees, which are, special, I forgot what it stands for actually, but it's some kind of special district fees like for sewers and development and all this kind of stuff. Well, a lot of these, one reason you have to do your research and your due diligence on these because a lot of them that we looked at, they came with, in fact, the ones that our property backs up to. One reason I did not buy the ones that it backed up to, because they had like $25,000 in back fees and another 5 or 6 years to go at $5,000 a year. So, that's something that's you have to pay. So, and then that's in addition to your HOA fees and everything else. So there's a lot of things you just need to know about this without buying them all up. And I thought it was kind of interesting that somebody actually bought all these properties sight unseen like they do. And so that's something we're going to go down and check out. And there's two companies that are on the tax sale list and actually coming up to the third year tax sale, which my guess will be they will be available over the counter after this tax sale if nobody buys them. But they've got like $12,000 and $13,000 on each one of these properties that are due that you have to pay in addition to whatever else is involved with them. So I really want to check out that neighborhood and see what's happened there, because either it's really up and coming and they've improved it a lot, or it has some of those SID fees, or who knows what happened. So I'll kind of let you know. This would be a good education and a good training on this in a couple of weeks when we find out what those are. So
Yeah, that's very interesting. But be careful now. You don't know what kind of ideas Laura will come up with. She might have you. She might have you,
Exactly.
right, Laura? Yeah.
Yep. See if they've got a loft somewhere.
Right. I was just gonna say, might have some lofts down there.
Well, there are a lot of good opportunities in those kind of places, but you do have to really use your due diligence, because, like we were just kind of talking about, you can get in over your head without knowing what you're doing. And I thought it was interesting too. Some of them on the list that I looked up a few years ago are just these little slivers of property along the highways and stuff that you really can't do anything with, or not very much with anyway. So it's just you really got to kind of know what you're doing. People hear tax, tax deeds, tax liens, and they get excited about it because there's a lot of there's a lot of things going on about with those things. But you really kind of got to know what you're doing, and because you can get in over your head. And I've bought stuff I wish I wouldn't have got over the years, and even some of the free properties. We've talked about free properties a few times, and that we've gotten from people, and you just got to know what you're getting into.
Well, it sounds like the tax
Yeah.
knew what he was getting into.
I'm sorry?
Sounds like the tax man knew what he was getting into.
The tax man, well, the tax here's the thing though, Bobby, with the tax people are not in the real estate business. They're in the money period business. They just want the money. They don't care. They're not going to train you on stuff. They're helpful a little bit, but they'll steer you in the right direction. But they're, as far as titles and fees and all that stuff.
I mean, it's like, here you go. For $1, you can buy $25,000 worth of liability.
Right. That's exactly right. And
And
they're happy.
how does it, once they get that dollar from you, what is their strategy to get you to pay?
Well, they just want the taxes. The people
Oh.
that
But you lose the property. I mean, if you buy it for $1 and you don't pay it, then what happens?
Then, well, and if you don't pay the taxes on it the next year, nothing happens for the first 3 years. After the first 3 years, it goes back to the tax sale auction for the first year tax sale, which is 3 years of back taxes. Then it would go to the fourth next year, which is the second year tax sale. Then when it comes up to the third, the same thing would happen on how you bought it over the counter.
So basically, if that's the case, you let it sit and all you did was lose $1.
That's true, but what you will also lose is your ability to buy any other properties for back taxes, because that's one of the things you have to be current on your real estate taxes to buy any of the properties from them. So you do have to know that also.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So
Yep.
there's just a few things you need to know, and they're very important things.
It's
And
a
if
nice hook in the mouse.
Well, and if it's in an association also, one of the things you really got to watch, one of the things I learned early on is if, and here's almost always the case, if somebody lets it go for back taxes, there's a really, really good chance. In fact, I've only seen it 100% chance that they have not been paying their HOA or POA fees over the years. Most of the homeowner associations or property owner associations will waive the back fees if they know you bought it over the counter, but not all of them. I've met with a couple of associations that would not let those go. And what happens is that, let's say you buy a building or camping lot for $1,000 for back taxes. If you could possibly owe several $1,000s in back fees that somebody else didn't pay. And that could actually, and it's happened to me, that could be a deal breaker why I would not buy a property, because it's not worth the money.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy it for your own use, you're going to build on it or do something with it, you got something really, something in mind that's going to, be a good opportunity for you, then that's a different story. But there's many of them that you just have to know what you're getting into.
Well, I'm finally signing up all my property almost with property manager. And because I want to scoop the nuts, which means I don't want them just get me tenants and manage tenants, but I want them to do repairs. I mean, not just the maintenance when they get it, but to do a lot of my repairs. Just getting property make readies. And of course, they buy property too. So I see that grin.
Yeah, that's good. No, I mean, I'm all for not doing all the maintenance myself anymore too. I'm right there with you, Bobby.
Well, I just can't do it. And I guess I'm looking at selling a couple. It's the balance between selling and keeping as I get old. And I'm in my 70s now.
Okay.
So I've been through 2 property managers, and they went to my property and wanted to go through it without me. And I'm like, how do we agree on anything? So I guess it's kind of like getting married. You know, you might want to date a few. Anyway, it's just a good, we think that we got the right one, but it hasn't been, it hasn't been easy.
No, sure. Well, you made up brought up a good point right there, Bobby, too. It's I mean, I don't know if it's quite like getting married, but it's you're taking on a partnership, which is similar. So you do have to be on the same page with a lot of things. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
And if they don't communicate well, it seems like if you see red flags, pay attention.
Yes. Yes. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I've learned that the hard way.
Hmm. Well, we all learn stuff like that as we go along, that's for sure. You know, I've had a couple of property managers, which I won't even get into the stories of it, stole and lied and did stuff like that too. And it, you know, nobody that we have connected with our groups, you know, around here anymore that I know of, but you know, it's just a lot of things can happen.
Yeah. There's a saying, those who fail to communicate run headlong into relational disaster. And so anyway, this property manager definitely communicates a lot better. So I guess that would be my comment is, how do they communicate? Are they forthcoming, or you got to dig it out of them? So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, that's a great point because that's, you know, that's one reason we got into owner financing ourselves because we didn't want to keep managing the properties, and we have stuff spread out all over the place, but it's a lot simpler if you have happy homeowners that are taking care of the place. I mean, we've got properties now we haven't seen in many years, and I really like doing that. You know, and I like the homeowners. You know, we've had a couple of experiences with other, and I hate to say it, but other investors that didn't work out so good, you know, because I think those are some tough people to deal with sometimes. And what it boils down to is partnerships, and that's communication. You need to have everything, you know, my opinion, set up before you go into, you know, have all your agreements up front. What happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? What is my role? What is your role? Things like that. And I think a good property manager, like it sounds like you're finding here, will do that with you and work with you, you know, on the things.
Currently, we have one property that we were willing to sell to an investor, but I thought, okay, you're buying it as is, but then he wants to take an ASHI inspector through, which I let him. I said, well, what do you want to do the inspector for? Because aren't we buying this as is? Oh yeah, well, yeah. But then he gets the inspection and an appraisal, and he drops the price $10,000. So I'm like, well, maybe we'll go somewhere else. But he's really pressing me to try to sell it to me because it's a pretty good property. But it's true you save on the real estate commissions if you go with an investor, but and repairs.
Mhm.
And it was the balance between maximizing profit and getting rid of some hassle factor. It could be a game show.
Mhm. Hi, Joe. See you back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one reason we went to the owner financing because we make about 2.5 times or more on the actual retail value of the properties and don't have any of the headaches. Well, shouldn't say any because that's not true. Don't have quite all the headaches with some of the other stuff that goes with it. So that's just, and plus we still own the properties. I mean, because they go on 20 years, 25 years, some of these, some of the building and camping lots, just for example, the ones like we buy over the counter, I'll buy something for $500, we'll sell it for 17,000 at, $69 a month, $89 a month, and at 0% interest. That goes on for a long time. And the thing is, you still own it until it's paid for because deeds don't transfer until you're satisfied.
What's the name of your book on that subject? You have a book?
Well, I've got the last one I did was The Secrets of a Dealionaire Revisited. We went and I hired a book coach a few years ago. We went through and changed everything and made it a lot more user friendly and understandable. I can send you a PDF copy of that. It was a #1 international bestseller in 97 categories around the world in Amazon. Just because I got the right people to work with. Again, it goes back to partners, get the right people that know what they're doing.
Well, that could be, yeah, let's get that.
Let me see if I don't know if I can put it in the chat. I'll see if I can.
Because that might be something we can do with this house instead of,
You have to fix it up then.
yeah. Okay, so I look, I'm on my phone. I don't have it to the chat. How do I book the PDF?
Yeah, let's see here. Let me find it first. I got too many things open here.
Open Sesame.
Yeah, Open Sesame. Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? Let's see here. Let's go to our wealth library here. Here we are. All right. It looks like it went in there. And everybody's welcome to have a copy if you want this here. Yeah. Can you see it in the chat there? Yeah,
On my computer, I can check it better, but I'm on my phone.
okay.
Okay, there's down here.
Well, if you can't get it, send me an email after a while and I'll send it to you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a book I wrote, Landlord Pennies to Banker Dollars, a few years ago, but I don't have a copy of that on PDF that I could give to you. It's on Amazon, but that's something I want to go ahead and redo that book too and make it a little bit more user friendly, but I just haven't had a chance to do that. All this stuff takes a lot of time. Maybe I'll work on that next week, but doubtful.
Do you have any questions about Daniel?
You have to send out receipts.
Asked.
Do-
There it is.
All right. Did you have a question on that?
John does.
Joan does?
Not specifically on your book, John, but so on our rentals, we have to we do pay the sewer and trash and then ask the tenant to pay that. So how are people doing that? I'm just having them do it on Cash App. Or my one tenant does it on some iPhone card or something. I don't know how to do that, but then she wants a receipt. I thought, well, if you do Cash App, you can write it in, you can have your own receipt. I don't know. Any ideas?
Yeah, you can make screenshots on that too. I do that a lot these days for receipts, just for documentation. Is
But-
that what you're?
That's not your point. Your point isn't the Cash App the receipt itself? If you use Apple Pay,
Yep,
that is receipt.
that is your receipt. That's correct. Uh-huh.
Tell her.
I
Yes,
like to make screenshots anyway, though, just because things disappear sometimes.
Oh, okay.
It's just for your own use. Yeah, the tenants, they should be able to do that too. If they're savvy enough to use the Cash App, they should be able to get their receipt from there.
okay, I'll tell her that.
Mhm.
Get her own screenshot.
What I'm telling Jonas, this woman definitely knows that. She can just do a screenshot. She's quite savvy.
Okay.
It's a tenant we'd like to get rid of somewhat because we go through this all the time. We just constant harassment. So we need to move towards Don direction, get rid of tenants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well-
That big house I was telling you about, I'll read your book, then I'll ask questions. Don't. So I'll just ask you later.
Yeah, you can ask any questions. It's fine. If I
Well,
got an answer, I'll tell you. If I don't, I'll tell you.
Well, I haven't read your book, so I thought I'd read that first, but okay, this is a house that's worth close to 200,000. So that's like a big house to put on owner financing. Do you agree or not?
A big house, you mean as far as money?
Yeah,
Dollar amount? No, I don't think it's that much.
okay, good.
Everything's owner financeable, if that's even a word.
Well, I just had to have you say that because my wife's sitting here and she'll disagree with me.
Here's a good example, and don't hold me to this because I'd have to look at all the details. But let's say it's worth 100. Let's say the market value is 199,000 on it. Okay, what I would do is I would market it at about 239 as a price, and then I would owner finance it at 399. And then let's say the rents normally are, and I'm just throwing these figures out here, but this is my thoughts right out of the gate. Let's say the rents are 1,500. I would put the payment at 1,800 at 0% interest. They are still responsible for taxes and insurance. Keep your own insurance, but have them go ahead and get it and then be an additional insured on their insurance. That way, you know if anything's ever been changed, when it's been paid, and if it's not been paid. You also want to make sure you get an authorization to release information right up front. And the other thing that I do is I always get a quick claim deed notarized up front that I put in their file, because everybody will sign everything up front. And if there's ever a problem down the road, they will not sign anything. And that's where the problems arise. So you get everything signed up front, put it in your file, even if you don't use it.
Insurance.
Insurance is huge. I've been burned twice on insurance. So don't do it. And they were with fires.
I just meant that getting that stuff signed up front is insurance, but you're talking about something else.
You want to be an additional insured on their policy, okay? Because you're the owner, but you want to have an authorization to release information. That right there is key for a lot of things. And you want to put that in the file too. You might need that. You probably will need that up front for the insurance people. Like if it's State Farm or Farmers or one of them, they're not going to just tell you anything or do anything. But if you have that, they will tell you everything. This is also, let's see, David Randolph's not here today, but we were talking about this several months ago. He had somebody that moved out. He was trying to he got a judgment against them, but he was trying to find their new employer to get a garnishment. You cannot get that without that. They will not talk to you. But if you have that, you can find out all kinds of stuff. And I've used this many times over the years. What I normally do is get 2 copies of it for myself, in addition to giving them a copy of everything they sign. But I will get one that is dated for the day you sign your papers, and then I get one that's not dated, and I stick it in the file for down the road. in case you ever need it. Most of the time you don't need it, but there's only that one time that you will, that you definitely will need it, and you will not regret having it.
Sure. Okay, well, it's high time we read your book.
Well, you can come here every week and ask questions too.
Yeah. No.
And sometimes I wish we didn't know so much about it, but you have to go through the problems to get to the promised land. Let's put it that way. And there is nothing promised, I'll tell you that. It's all trial and error and due diligence.
I have said that the first book I read on real estate was Property Management for Dummies. And that was 30 years ago. And many times since then, as I've said, I wish I'd never read or heard anything else. Fundamentals.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, you kind of mentioned earlier about some red flags, and that's something always pay attention, because people will tell you, and how they do it. One thing is how they do everything. You probably heard that before. I know Harv Eker's first time I heard it maybe 25 years or so ago, and that still holds true, because if they skimp on one little thing, they'll do it on everything. And if they're shady on one thing, they're shady on everything. So just look and see what people do.
Yes, sir. He who is faithful in small is also faithful in much.
It's absolutely right.
Jesus said.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
And who is it? Dr. Phil, I think it was, I heard say one time many years ago, if they'll do it with you, they'll do it to you. So just keep that in mind.
This is so true. Yeah. Honor among thieves.
So,
Yeah. Well, Dr. Phil said to me once, how's that working out for you?
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, don't think things are going to get better. And that's one thing that I really look at too with the owner financing, because you look at their past, there's a reason they're doing it, but what is the reason? If they just default on their bills because that's just what they do, that's one thing. If they had a medical bill or something really that happened, that's another whole story. So you just got to keep all that stuff in mind.
Yeah. You got to keep it in mind, even though I've got Alzheimer's now.
Keep learning new stuff all the time that way, though, don't you?
Learning it over.
Get to keep meeting the same people over again.
Yeah. Well, my problem's I lay my phone down and 3 seconds later, I don't know where it is.
I don't think that has to do with Alzheimer's. That's just something that happens to all of us.
I feel better now.
You could do like me and leave it on silent during meetings and then forget to put it back on there, and then you lose it. So you can't even call yourself.
Exactly. You probably do call yourself 2 names,
But you call yourself other stuff, right? But your phone don't answer.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, just getting your PDF is worth showing up today. Thanks.
Okay, well, you're welcome. Happy to do that.
This is Cotton.
Oh, there you go. Sometimes your pets are your best tenants too,
Yeah, mine is, but other people's aren't.
Well, sometimes they are.
What do you mean?
I think it was Jeffrey Taylor who said that he has the pet policies, you got to interview the pets too, but sometimes the pets turn out to be better tenants than their owners.
Well, no, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a thing on pets. In fact, maybe I ought to try to dig that out a few years ago on I don't know where that is. I'll see if I can find that, but that was let's see, what to do and not do with pets. Pet screening, that's what it is. Let me see if I have that. we had somebody talking at our group. In fact, I've got it right here. I'll put that in there too. That's a PDF. Let me go ahead and put that in the chat here for you. I'm just full of PDFs today, man. So let's see here.
What's that PDF stand for? Pretty dog fragrance?
There you go. Pet screening. There you go. I know they have websites now because a lot of people have service dogs. That hasn't always been the case, but a lot of people try to sneak in dogs that aren't necessarily real service dogs, and there is a distinction between them. So,
Right. An emotional support animal. I tell them every pet that anybody ever had was an emotional support animal.
of course it was. Yeah, we had a guy one time, a renter actually he was down in Baden at a house, a duplex we had, and he moved in a pet iguana that he said was a service iguana. And the neighbors didn't like it because it was a great big, huge lizard looking thing. And it was scary. It would open his mouth and stick its tongue out. And the other tenants didn't like it, but he said I don't know where he got it, but he said he had an authorization. And I think it was one of those that he got online and changed it just to fit his needs. I don't know. It turned out to be okay, but the other people didn't like it there. So I don't know.
Sounds like the Judge Judy we watched.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's Judge Judy, you can get a lot of good tips out of her also for your tenants.
You remember Art Linkletter, right?
Oh, sure.
And he used to have this program, kids say the darndest things.
Mhm.
We,
Yes.
Your next book is going to be Tenants Say the Darndest Things.
That would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Well, didn't you talk to Bobby years ago when you guys were talking about doing a book? So you want to be a landlord?
Huh? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I still got a lot of stories too, and that could actually be a whole series of for Netflix or something, I think.
Well, the way to do it today probably would just to, talk like we're talking now and record it and just do a video blog.
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely could.
And make tons of YouTube shorts.
If they wouldn't be so time consuming, I'd do that.
Well, we just talk. Somebody else does the technical stuff. I wouldn't have a chance at that.
Well, now they got AI that'll do a lot of that stuff for you too.
Yeah. That's scary too.
That's another whole story.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
let's see. Steve and Christopher both and said thanks. You're welcome for that, for those. I'm assuming you're saying for the PDFs. You're definitely welcome for those. Happy to help. And I'd still would do my due diligence on everything you do, though, as much as possible. Just find out. We can learn a lot, but when it comes down to it, as we all know, the learning is in the doing. All right. Got anything else we want to talk about? We got a lot of good conversations going here. A lot of things I personally like, as far as over-the-counter properties, owner financing, and tenant success stories. How's that?
All right. I've got lots of complaints, but a success story is I don't have any Section 8 tenants anymore. But
Okay.
I still have my very first one. That's a riddle, right?
Okay.
I don't.
They can go both ways. I've had really good success with Section 8, and I've also seen people that just, had the worst tenants in the world. So I think it boils back down to the tenant. You probably screened that first one yourself, would be my guess, and you got along with them, and it just worked out well.
It really did. What I mean by I had my first Section 8 tenant from 15 years ago, but she's no longer Section 8, and she's still my tenant, and she's over the years been my least big headache. I mean, at times a big headache.
Mm-hmm.
He had 8 kids,
Oh, wow.
only the bottom 4 on the occupancy, but the upper 4 came back with their kids.
Of course.
At one time, I had 14 people in the house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So how do I still have her? Well, in trying to work with her, because you sure can't work with most people like that.
Yeah.
But she had a good job, and she had been there 10 years when I got her, which means she's been there 25 years now. And now she pays the whole bill because, you know, kids aged out. And gosh, sometimes working with them works. But I got another tenant right now that's just driving us crazy. She's only been with us since April, and from the day before she moved in, she was causing problems. I have a shed in the carport that I use for some supplies, and she put a lock on my shed and told me it was her shed.
Ah,
I mean, I told her it wasn't.
And so my question, she says, the lease does not say that I can't use that shed. I said, well, it doesn't say you can either.
mm.
So I guess that's is that a lease issue?
You know, people can get in the weeds on a lot of that stuff. Yeah, it probably should be spelled out. I don't know. It's at this point, it's probably better to try to just work something out, whatever that is. You know, that's a tough one once they get there, because then you cross that, you know, you have a little friction point there that you have to cross. So that's just something, yeah, you don't think about those things, but that's something that really needs to be spelled out before they move in. But at this point, I bet, you know, my guess is all you could do is probably just work something out.
We've tried. I told her I've used it for 10 years, and it's always been my shed, but she don't take no for an answer.
Mm.
On anything. So it's a portable shed too, so I think I'll just move it.
Well, you may want to just say that was for you, and give her the option of getting her own shed to bring in there. I don't know. She's not your Section 8 tenant, is she?
Almost. I don't have any Section 8 anymore, but this one's a Catholic Charities,
Okay.
and she definitely has an entitled attitude. I got her through a property manager, the one that we decided not to go with.
Mhm.
So I didn't screen her myself.
So John,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
can something like that be changed in the new lease? Like if you sign a new lease every year, can you change? You can make changes to the lease, right? Or can
Yes,
you?
you can, Ann. Very good point. Yeah, you can redo the lease, and yeah, absolutely.
You can't do that until the current lease is up, right?
Right.
Just be cautious that when you do go do that, you want to be tender with that, because somebody, I've had tenants, when you go to change things, didn't want to go with the new stuff. They can stop paying. They can do all kinds of stuff. So you just want to leave things on a good note when you do any kind of changes, and kind of make it a mutual thing too,
Yeah.
if you can do that. Well, let's see. We got is it Luqman? Luqman, you got a property, you're a wholesaler there, you got a property for sale?
Yes, sir, I do, in fact. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure. You want to tell us about that?
Okay, yeah. Basically, it's a fix and flip in St. Louis. Let me just pull up the details a bit, and then we can go through it together. I got it just a few days ago, sir. Actually, I operate nationwide, right? I have deals coming in all over the country. I have a team that I work with diligently. We source all kinds of property, single family, multifamily, land, buildable land. We oftentimes come across some very, very interesting deals at very low prices, right? So basically, the deal I have is on 6823 Knoll Avenue, St. Louis. It's hold on a second.
All right.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, sir. It's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 960 square foot property built in 1957. It requires a full rehab. You're going to be spending approximately $60,000 to do the rehab. We're asking $40,000 for it, and the ARV here is about 150. Yeah,
Okay,
I
what was
have
that address again?
68. That was 6823 Knoll Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri,
No,
63134.
63134. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the best contact information for you?
Okay. Yeah, I put it in the chat, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
All my
great.
yeah. My
Yeah, but if
name,
you
my
don't mind mentioning it for anybody watching the
sure,
replay,
sure.
that's
Yes, sir.
always
My
helpful.
name is Luqman Mohammed. I work under Muhammad Investments LLC. And my email address is luqmanmohammed97@gmail.com. My phone number is 334-444-1319. You find all those details in the chat box I put on the right. Yeah. And the
Okay.
address of the property I have under contract in St. Louis right now. Right. So if any one of you is interested, please let me know. I have other deals coming in the area as well, right? There's a duplex I'm working on right now. It's a full rehab, but massive upside potential.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And could someone actually get on your list for your properties there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I actively maintain a buyers list of investors all over the country. St. Louis, I'm particular about because it's a growing region. I don't have many buyers over there. So I thought I'd reach out to someone like yourself, and I do appreciate. I failed to mention when I came on first. I do appreciate the invitation for to come on here and advertise my services. I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. And feel free to come back. We meet here every week, same time. It's 11 o'clock Central Time. And anything you have new, especially St. Louis area, but it doesn't have to be because we do have people that tune in from all over the country and actually at times all over the world. So you just
Okay.
never know who you're going to meet here. And we also put the replays on YouTube. So that's one reason we like to ask you to mention it verbally as well as putting it in the chat also.
Okay. Yes, sir. I just put in the Google Drive link for the property I have on the contract. You want to go take a look at it, right? That's the state of the property. If it
Okay, very good. You
piques your
said,
interest, yes,
okay,
sir.
you said this was a full rehab, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The images are in the Google Drive link. I just put the link in the chat box. You can go take a look, see what it looks like. If it piques your interest, you let me know.
Okay, thank you, Luqman. That's very, very good. Appreciate that.
Nice. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Again, my details are in the chat. If you're interested, please reach out.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's see. And Terry Brown, you had something you put in there. Let's see, your St. Patrick's Center. Okay, you just had a comment there. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to tell us about that. I know Terry works with St. Patrick's Center, does a lot of good work for our community here. So we're not always able to unmute depending on where we're at. Sometimes we're at the office or maybe driving or something, but appreciate you coming in here. I know you are a busy woman. Okay. Okay, and Bobby, yeah, just had on your farmer tenant. Yeah, we had a Section 8 tenant actually from a house we bought this back several years ago, and she was on Section 8 for 16 years. And when we bought the property, everything went good for about 4 years, and then her brother got out of prison and moved. He couldn't get his own place. I guess he didn't have the money or something, but he moved in with her, and then all of a sudden everything went downhill. He started selling drugs out of her house. She quit paying the rent. One thing led to another. They got their electric shut off. They had a cord. Last time I went by there, they had a cord run into the neighbor's house next door, and then we unfortunately had to evict her, and that took another several months because he went to court and we had to drag it out. And when they moved out, they really trashed the house. They took all the appliances. There was holes in the floor. They even took the chain link fence outside, which I never had anybody do anything like that. It was very interesting. But that's the only experience that I had that really wasn't that good. The ones we had were really,
Hello?
really good. Hello?
Hello? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm on the phone and it kept cutting off and cutting back on and cutting back off. And I was
Oh,
trying
sure.
to talk and I was like, oh, I think I'm muted.
Oh, there you are, Terry. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Like I said, I'm on the phone. So
Okay. Well, I
uh
understand that.
now what were you asking me? You were saying something about like you said something like about a comment or something.
You
I didn't
just did
hear.
put a comment in the chat about Section 8. I was just repeating that. I just was saying if you wanted to tell us anything, feel free to unmute. Because I know you do a lot of good work with St. Patrick's. You probably have a lot more insight than some of us on that.
Yeah. What I would like to say is a lot of our clients at St. Patrick's Center, we have a whole lot of different kinds of vouchers like HUD Vash. We have, of course, we have the clients that come in with Section 8, and that anybody can get Section 8. You know, you just have to get on the list, and eventually, if your name comes up, then you can be eligible for that. We also have other vouchers that you have to get through coordinated entry. You have to get on the list, and then there's case management, which helps with a lot of clients that have vouchers. We work with a lot of landlords, and if there's issues, you know, you can reach out to a case manager and say, well, this is going on, and then we can, you know, check and see what's going on. And that helps with, you know, retention with people, you know, staying housed. Because there's, like you said, there is the other gentleman, there's a lot that you have to consider when people are low income or if they're on vouchers, because there's a lot of things that have happened in their lives, and a lot of them have been traumatized. And you know, and the landlords that I work with, I'm, you know, pretty upfront, and I tell them, I said, well, you know, the population that we work with, they're not going to be perfect, they're not going to have perfect credit, but we want to try to get people housed that, you know, that are homeless. We want to try to end homelessness in some way, because to me, you know, or to all of us, we believe that, you know, that's a basic human right to be housed, not to be homeless and sleeping on the street in all kind of weather, different kind of weather. But what I liked about the comment that he made was that Section 8, the person was able to get off of it. That's what we hope. We have some clients that have gotten off of Section 8. Some of them don't really want to be, you know, have a voucher, but that's where they are in their lives, and that's what, you know, and especially if they have children. But that's a great success story when someone is able to get off Section 8 and, you know, pay their own bills without assistance.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that same point too. Now she's been there for decades. You know, with Bobby there. So that's, you know, I mean, that just speaks volumes for how good the program you know, it could actually work. And I like the way you say you work with the landlords up front, Terry. That's that, you know, if everybody, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier a little bit with just communication. If everybody's on the same page, it's a lot easier than us all thinking different things at the same time. So,
Terry,
Yeah, and I have over probably close to 300 landlords that I work with currently. So what part of what I do is I bring landlords in for all of the housing programs at St. Patrick's Center, and every single person that I have on that document, I have met with, talked to, tell them about the programs, and you know, just basically everything, so they'll know, you know, kind of what they're getting into. And it really really works out well, you know, because we, you know, the case managers are great and they're able to communicate with the landlord, which really really helps a lot.
mhm,
And
I'm sure it
yeah.
does.
mhm.
Terry, another note about that particular tenant. Um, we are friends with her previous landlord because of this relationship. Her previous landlord was her cousin, and her cousin evicted her. And even though her cousin evicted her, but they couldn't get along. We've been together 15 years, but what I'm saying is we are friends with her previous landlord, and our tenant knows it. And it's just a miracle of peace, frankly. But how would it be possible to get in touch with you at the St. Patrick's Center?
Oh yeah, of course. Anyone can get a hold of me. Like I said, I'm on my phone and I'm not the greatest when it comes to phone when I'm on Zoom. I can give you my email address and my phone number.
Sure.
Work cell. Yeah, I'll be glad to meet with anybody that wants to, if you have a property and you want to rent to some of our tenants at St. Patrick Center. Okay, so it's Terry Brown, Terri Brown,
Okay.
and it's 314-400-1419, and it's T Brown at ST and the name Patrick Center.org.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, so also if anyone ever wants to volunteer at St. Patrick Center, you can call. And we always need volunteers at our fundraisers. So if anyone wants to do that, so you make a lot of money, but it's good to, give back sometime.
Well, I'll ask you about that. What kind of fundraisers do you have?
All kinds. Like we have actually, I'm glad you asked that. We have Veterans 5K because we have 6 veterans programs there, and we have Veterans 5K that's coming up. So you can walk or run, and all the proceeds go to the veterans programs and also St. Patrick Center. Because oh God, we get a lot of different kind of grants. And so like we have a lot of people that come in, like we have eviction grants right now. So people that are behind in their rent, or maybe they've been evicted, we can help them get caught back up and hopefully keep them from losing their housing. So we get all kind of grants all the time for utilities, all kinds of things. We have close to about 30 programs, and we do just all kind of stuff there. Yeah.
When is this Veterans 5K, Terry?
Let me see. When is it? Oh, geez. Well, it's on Veterans Day. So let's see, what would that be? That'd be November the 11th, wouldn't it?
Okay.
I can get the date to you, John. Off the top of my head, I just don't know what's going on when I'm talking on the Zoom on my phone. I'm not at the office, so I don't know anything.
Sure. Well, maybe you could get when you get a little bit of time, you could come back in and tell us some more details on that, because I think that's a real
Okay.
good thing to present to our groups here.
Okay. I can do that next week. I really don't have the information with me, but it's in November and it's usually on Veterans Day.
Okay, that would be great.
And it's really a nice event. It's usually televised.
Oh, okay.
What's the speed limit on that?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
What's the speed limit on that race?
I don't know. We have some people that finish like right away, the young show off, the people that are used to doing it and they, finish in no time. Then you got other people that, they keep going until they finish. So we're just there until the last person.
Meet you there, John.
Okay, I'll race you. And Terry, you said you had 30 programs. I had no idea you had that many.
Yeah, about 30 programs. So there's 6 veterans programs. Our programs are divided into 3 different categories. We have short-term immediate support, short-term transition, and long-term transformation. So the immediate support are people that I need something right now. Like we have a women and men like shelter inside of St. Patrick Center. Like we have rooms, but we're a social service agency, but that's more like a program. So people can stay in there for a certain period of time. And then until hopefully we get them either a voucher or they need to apply for SSI, SSDI, they need a job. So normally with our clients that come into St. Patrick Center, we wrap services around them. So just think about a person that's homeless. Anyone that's homeless, you're not going to be doing anything. You can't take care of anything, right? Because you don't have housing. So, once you get the housing, you're able to like take care of things, take a shower, wear clothes, to be able to go on a job interview, things like that. So it's, with our agency, we're housing first. So it doesn't matter, we're just going to house you and then we're going to work on trying to get you where you need to be. Because when you're homeless, all you're doing is where am I going to eat? Where am I going to get my next meal from? And where am I going to sleep to be able to feel, to be somewhat safe. Because if you notice, I don't know if any of you notice that when you see people that are homeless, a lot of times they're sleeping during the day. That's because it's sunlight, it's daylight, and you can see, and it's much more dangerous at night.
Mm, wow. Great
Do-
point. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, I guess first thing you think of is your food, but that goes right along with a place to sleep. Because if you don't have a place for you and your children or your family, that causes all kinds of other things. You can't concentrate on anything other than that. So, boy, it'd be really good if you could maybe, yeah, just tell us a little bit more about that. Maybe next week if you have a little chance, a chance to put some of that together for us, that could be very
Okay.
educational.
Okay.
Do you have
Yeah.
Terry, do you have addictions programs too?
Okay, so how we do that, like we have an ACT, we have ACT 1 and 2, and that's a program where clients are actually in their homes. So we have a psychiatrist, we have a nurse, it's more clinical. So we try to keep clients in their home, but they can't stay there without, like we may get medication delivered to St. Patrick's Center, take it to the client. They'll come in and maybe talk to the psychiatrist, they'll maybe come in and see the nurse, just whatever. And then we have all kinds of like classes up there that people can stay in for most of the day, even if they're not in ACT, but like meditation. I think there are maybe some addiction classes up there. We don't really have addiction classes in St. Patrick's Center, but we partner with a lot of different agencies. So we're not one of those agencies that we don't want to share information. It's like, oh no, we're going to keep everything to ourselves. The more resources and information we have, the more we can offer to our clients. So we usually refer them out to different places, like with the VA, with veterans. There's a lot of substance use programs out there. So we do a lot of referrals. Yeah. And so so each case manager, maybe they'll have a caseload, and then they'll figure out what each one of their clients need, whoever they're working with. Like if we've had clients that have been estranged from their families for 25, 30 years, and we get them back together with their family. We had one client, and he moved to where I think it was Mississippi or whatever, and he got back with his family, moved there, and there you go. He had been estranged because he was homeless and, using substances. And it was it's just, every person that we work with is a different story. It's just, I can't even tell you. It's just, I've been there for 16 years. So there's been a lot of like different stories and situations and circumstances that I've, run into, or that we've all run into working there.
Well, honestly, part of the reason why I ask is the tenant I'm having problems with was a heroin addict.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd like to work with her, but I may be a little bit ignorant on how to do that.
So how I'll respond to that is that what I've learned since I've been at St. Patrick's Center. So when I thought, I'd see people that were homeless, and I'd, offer them this or that, the other. And it's like, a lot of times that doesn't really help them. And a lot of people don't realize that you're giving people money and they're going to go get something. Not everybody.
Yeah.
But a person that is on heroin, that is that is heroin, that's bad. So what I will tell you about anyone that's on any type of substance, it has to be up to them. They have to want to make that change. If they're not ready, and they're not ready to make that commitment, they're not going to do it. Maybe they'll stay sober for 30 days and then they'll keep going back and forth with it. But they have to be ready. It has to be internal. And we can preach to a person all day long, but it has to be their decision, and they have to want to be ready to do that, to go in and get treatment.
Mhm.
However many times they have to go in there.
Mm. That's such a good point, Terry. They have to want it. And I've noticed that in the past too, because sometimes we want more for the people than they want for themselves. I know family
That's exactly
members and
right.
everything else. And
That is so right, John. That is correct. That is accurate.
yeah, so
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
because I've been like that myself, and I've learned how to not do that.
Yeah.
You can't keep enabling a person. You just can't do that. I had to learn that. And there's a lot of us there have to learn that.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point with the money too, because I don't know how many times we've given money to people, and that's exactly what they do. They just run out and get more, whatever their problem is, rather than to use it for food or something that would be beneficial, which we think we're doing. So just boy, that's such a good
But
point.
You know what I do, John?
What's that?
I don't have any right now, but I get these big freezer bags. I'll put a bottled water in it. I'll put a bag of chips, some wipes, just little things that they can use.
Uh-huh.
And when they ask for something, I have some in my car. I don't have any right now, but I just give them that bag because
Oh,
it's something to drink. It's something to eat to get a little bit on your stomach. And maybe I'll have if I have any money, I'll have put $1 or $2 in there,
uh-huh.
or $1, not a lot
Uh-huh.
of money. So I make bags up,
What-
like those wipes that you can use to wipe your hands and stuff like that. So that's what I do.
That's great, Terry. That's just such a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see people and they need something, maybe they're thirsty, maybe they want a little something, they haven't eaten all day.
Yeah. Sometimes they just need a sandwich or just something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good
Yeah.
point.
So I just keep a few of those in my trunk, and then that's it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, can't say we've all not needed help at one point or another. I mean, maybe not to the, some of the extents that some people do, but none of us are immune to having things happen to us. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And what I always tell landlords, I understand that you want to make money, but why do you want to work at St. Patrick's Center? Because people call, we don't work with every single landlord. We're going to have a conversation and find out, what are you in this for? I know you want to make money, but do you want to help the community? Do you want to help in homelessness? What is your mission for wanting to work with us?
Yeah. Wow. That's so good. I'm so glad you said that too, Terry, because, you can't work with everybody and everybody's not your client anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that says volumes for you yourself, because if you've 300 landlords you've worked with, you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody does have a different intention, and that's some of the hardest things to dig through sometimes is finding out their intention and what they really want.
Mm-hmm. And we want good landlords. They're not gonna be perfect, but we want landlords that are gonna respect our clients because, like said earlier, the clients that we work with, I'll tell you, a lot of them, they have already been traumatized. They have already been mistreated, and so it's just difficult. You just don't want to re-traumatize people.
Yeah,
You know, so I
absolutely.
don't know, and a lot of people don't realize that or know. That's why I have a conversation with each person that I work with, so they kind of have an understanding.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And yeah, if you don't mind putting together a couple things for us for next week, we could definitely get the word out on, the Veterans 5K. I'd never heard of that, but that's something. I know we have a lot of veterans in our group and around our area, so we could definitely get the word out on that.
Oh, that would be great. Like I said, we have 6 veterans programs at St.
Wow.
Patrick's Center. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, since you have so many, maybe you could just, that's a little overwhelming, at least for me, all at once. So maybe you just put together one or two things here and there, and we could kind of
Hmm.
a little bit here and there as you're able to do it. And because we could definitely get the word out to our groups.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. We could definitely use the help for sure.
I appreciate that.
And we went over. It's 12:13.
Yeah, I was going to say I started to say we're coming up to the top of the hour, but we've already passed the top of the hour. So a lot of good conversations. I appreciate everybody tuning in and talking and, all the shares. And we'll go ahead and we'll meet again next week. I'll have this recording up on YouTube by midnight tonight. That's always my rule. We appreciate everybody and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.